Hi everyone, it's Karen again. I wasn't quite ready, but I have a new story to tell you. Actually, it's a very old story, but I don't think any of you were born yet to hear it. No, I'm kidding. It's not that old, but it's old, but it's an oldie but goodie, and it may not be amusing, but I hope it will be entertaining. So, this is the story that goes with the review I did of the show Ain't Too Proud, that's at the Amazon right now. So, many years ago, when I was doing my show, Karen's Restaurant Review, I'd get calls all the time. We hit a number and people would call. And whenever it was someone like Warren Beatty one time, I'd go, yeah, sure. Angie Dickinson, yeah, sure. The Tonight Show, yeah, sure. And it turns out they were all the truth. So I got this call from this theater in Beverly Hills that was fabulous. And it said, this guy from the theater, his name was Jay. And I called him back. And I thought it was just, when's your next show on? You know, that kind of call. And he said, I'm a big fan of yours, and we have a lot of good acts here, and I would like you to open for Aretha Franklin. And I'm like, yeah, right. And may she rest in peace right now, by the way. But may everyone rest in peace, unless they were a terrible person. But if they were a good person, I want them to rest in peace. So anyhow, everyone else I don't care about. But anyhow, so I thought it's a joke, of course, because who's asking little old Karen to open for Aretha Franklin? So I said, no, thank you, because really, I didn't want to. But I said, but you have the Temptations, because that was my favorite group, and that's who I cared about. And he goes, let me check. And he comes back and he says, yes, with the Four Tops. I'm like, oh my God, the Temptations and Four Tops. I want to go see them. And he said, would you like to open for them too? And I went, two? No, I don't want to open for Aretha, just the Temps and Tops. And so it was said, and I got off the phone, and Mr. X goes, what do you mean open for? What are you going to do? I said, I don't know. He said, like, do my show, which is like, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I had no idea how to do this. And the guy was a fan of my show. He said, just go out and talk for a half hour, like I did on my show. So anyhow, my friend Fred Denny, who owned a restaurant back on Broadway in Santa Monica, said, we have to do a trial run. So they put a little stage in his restaurant, and they made his walk-in freezer my dressing room. It was so great. We did this. It was like, and it was, you know, my friends and fans. So anyhow, I go to the show, and then, of course, I get booked on The Tonight Show for the first time ever the same night. So I had to go to The Tonight Show, tape that. That went great. Then we go to the Beverly Theater to open for the Temps and Tops, and I'm so excited that I met them. Really am excited about that, but oh my God, did I suck. Because Mr. X kept saying, you can't go out unprepared, write material. I said, I don't write material, and Jay said, just go and talk. Guess what? No one wanted to hear it because, first of all, opening act comedian for the Temps and Tops, they wanted a music opening act. And I wasn't a comedian anyhow. I was just like a funny girl who was the it girl at the time. What could I say? And the audience did not care about it. So anyhow, it was a nightmare. But I did, so I quickly wrote notes before the second show because we did 2 shows Friday night and 2 shows Saturday night. And the guys could not have been better to me. They were great. One of the Four Tops, what was his name? I keep thinking it was Duke Fakir. So whenever he'd they do this stuff, and then he'd look at me off stage and point to me because I was watching. So the good news is I got to see all 4 shows that they did and be backstage for it. I got 40 tickets from my friends. Mr. X got to meet them, and he's loved them his whole life too. And my ex-boyfriend Omar, who is a deep voice like Melvin Franklin, got to announce me. So that part was fabulous. I totally sucked. But the best thing was there was a review of me in either Variety, not me, there was a review of the show, in either Variety or The Hollywood Reporter. And it said, the Temptations and Four Tops, semicolon, Karen Solgan, like my name was with them. I was so excited. And then it was a review of them, how fabulous they were. And at the end it said, Salkin was out of her element. Duh! But I don't care. I have that review with them. I am kind of so easy to please, I'm thinking. Now, is this? So anyhow, I knew them for years, and then I was invited to, when the Temptations were doing a new album, I was invited to their recording session, and they were great, and it was so weird to watch. Dennis Edwards was sweating, like he wasn't getting his parts. I'm like, that's so crazy. So when I came back the next day, he said, hey, sweetheart and baby weren't like, hey baby. They were like nice, like I was a little girl to them, like, hey baby. And so Dennis said, you came to hear the Pretty Boys sing today, right? And no, I came to hear everyone sing, which were the, Otis Williams, Richard Street and Ron Tyson, and Otis is the founder, of course. And then Melvin Franklin, the deep voice, he said to me, when you opened for us, your little friend almost got in trouble there. And I knew what he meant. My assistant, who's now a big lawyer, Jeff Rubenstein, Jeff stood backstage. He was this little redheaded kid, and as Melvin was about to go on to sing Old Man River, he stops him and he goes, Melvin, this is my favorite part of the show. And Melvin looks at me and goes, all right. No, he went, all right. But then he goes, that was so strange. So then I became friendly with them, and I'd go see them around town. And after one of the shows, Melvin invited me back to his house, and I'm thinking it's this big showbiz party. It was so darling. It was his family. We had like home cooked food. It was fabulous. So anyhow, I'm hearing from the technicians that maybe my bangs are perchance not so fabulous right now. And that's, there's a lot more to tell you, but right now I have to finish this video, and maybe I'll tell you more next time. But that's my Knowing the Temptation story. Woo! I'm doing the Temptations walk up here because you can't see me down there. So I do it better than this. Okay, really I do. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel.